Hi there, my name is Victoria Bowler, and today I am sharing one of the ways I am wrapping up the school year with end of the year review projects. These are arranging and composition projects that I'm doing with kindergarten through 5th grade, but one of my favorites is with 1st grade using the book Come Back, Ben. So this is going to develop into a lot of different things as far as arranging and composition and unpitched percussion and body percussion and all sorts of things. But it all begins with the book and a singing game. So let's look at that today. Let's start with the book. This is a really delightful story about a boy named Ben who is holding on to a red balloon, and he goes through his window, he goes past a hill, he goes past bees, he goes past the rain, he goes past the stars. And at every point in the story, the scene that he's leaving, whatever characters are there, they're calling after him, "Come back, Ben." And he goes up so far that eventually he gets to the moon. So after you get all the way up to the moon, what do we have to do? We have to come back down. So this page is a good one to show all of the different things that Ben has passed on his trip up to the moon, and now he has to come back down and pass all of them on his way back to the house. And then the ending of this book is super cute, where Ben finally gets back to his house, and then the book ends with his sister going up on the balloon as well. So a super, super cute ending. That's kind of step one here, is we're just going to read the book. And as we read the book, we have this "Come back, Ben" little chant that we're using in the text. So "saw me, la saw me," that students are going to hear several different times. So after we've read the book, now we're ready to move on to some sight reading. A lot of times in my class, I'll introduce a song and teach it by rote, but because this is an end of the year review project, I want to see how students interact with some new unknown material that uses some rhythms and melodic elements that they already know, but they know it in a different context. So let's start this sight reading activity by thinking through some of the different things that Ben got to pass in the book, some of the different characters and scenes that we just read about. Let's speak this on text. Here we go. Rainbow, bees buzzing, rainbow, rainbow. Just that much. Let's speak it on rhythm, syllables. Go. Ta, 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 ta-dee, ta, 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 ta. Great. Now you can choose 1st grade if you want to speak on text, apples falling, or if you want to speak on rhythm syllables, toddy, 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 toddy. Totally up to you. Let's go back to the top. You choose how you're going to speak this. 1, 2, from the top. Go, ta, 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 toddy, ta, ta, ta. Second line, toddy, 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 ta, 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 ta. And then there's a second half of the song that we did here as well. Okay, so with these, I want to hear students read this new unknown material. And my question that I'm listening for, that I was listening for this past week, is how much teacher assistance does this process take? How much do I need to be involved in the different rhythm syllable combinations or the different text combinations? And it's also interesting to me to see which one students would rather speak. Would they rather speak on text, or would they rather speak on rhythm syllables? Just interesting to know. Okay, now let's add a melody. So let's take that first line of our song, and will you speak this on rhythm syllables? 1, 2, a little quicker. Go. Ta, 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 ta-dee, ta, 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 ta. Do it again. That was great. Here you go. Ta, 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 ta-dee, ta, 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 ta. Now, could you try it with your singing voice? Let's think it in our heads. 1, 2, we're thinking while we sign. And I use body solfege in my classroom. If you use the Carwin hand signs, you can use those as well. But body solfege for me at this age group, is the way to go for me. So let's try it with our singing voice. Here we go. Mi, mi, so, 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 la, la, so, so. So this is a sol, mi, la melody, but you'll notice that the context here for this solfege set, what we would normally expect from like a tritonic melody like this, it's a different order than students are used to hearing in a sol, la, sol, mi, like plainsies, clapsies, or luna, lunera. It's different from the sol, la, sol, mi context and sol, mi, la, like doggy, doggy, where's your bone? Someone stole it from your home. It's a different melodic pattern than they're used to seeing, which is why it's so helpful for me to listen to students do this at the end of the year. It helps me hear how they are taking these known melodic tone sets and how they are kind of mixing them up in their brain to read a new melodic pattern. Okay, all that said, very last step here. Let's try it. Here we go. Mi, mi, so, 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 la, la, so, so. Excellent. So now let's go back to the rhythm. I've heard them speak the rhythm on text and rhythm syllables. I've heard them move and sing to this new melody, the first section of it at least. And now I'm going to go back and I'm going to add in the whole thing. I don't need them to sight read the entirety of this song. And you'll hear why here in a moment. One last thing that I want to say about sight reading new material is the reason we are using this body solfege, or if you use the Kerwin hand signs, the reason we do that is to add a kinesthetic element to what is almost exclusively like an aural process, right? If I only have my eyes and my ears to know if I'm doing it correctly, that's missing one possible component, and that is the physical component, the kinesthetic thing. So if students are having trouble with this melody, I can ask them to stand, and when we get to that la, not only are we going to put our hands in the air, but we're also going to stand on our tiptoes. And for me, our hands are on our shoulders, but we're also going to kind of crouch down with our knees. Does that make sense? So adding that physical element, I find really helps intonation when we are sight reading new material. Okay, all of that said, let's go back to the rhythm. Will you clap this rhythm while I sing? Here we go. Up we go on a red balloon. We don't know where we're going, but we'll be there soon. Up we go on a red balloon. Will we make it to the moon? Great, so it's a song about Ben going up to the moon. So after all of this, this has been a lot of work. This is really stretching first graders. So after this, we went on to a game. Let's talk about that game. This is a hidden object guessing game, but kind of with a twist. I'll show you what I mean. So we're going to sing the song and walk in a circle, and one student is Ben. Ben is going to sit in the middle with their eyes closed, or you can have Ben sit, against a wall with their eyes covered, whatever it is. Ben is not looking. And while Ben has their eyes covered, I am going to take an object, a marker, an eraser, a paperclip, my chapstick, whatever it is. I'm going to take something to be our moon rock, and I'm going to hide that moon rock somewhere in the classroom. And my rule for this is that it's hidden, but at least some of it is visible. So if I were to use, some chapstick, maybe that much of it is hidden behind a book or something like that, but some piece of it is visible. And at the end, when we are done singing the song and the object is hidden, Ben can turn around and we are all going to sing, "Come back, Ben, come back, Ben," and change our dynamics when Ben is getting closer to that object or further away. Here's the twist. Normally in dynamic games like this, when the person gets closer to that hidden object, what is our dynamic level? It's louder, right? And when they're further away, we get quieter. But in this game, we're going to pretend like Ben is going closer and closer and closer to the moon. So his sister back home, when we are singing that part, that sister's voice is going to get fainter and fainter and fainter. So quieter and quieter and quieter. So in this game, again, because it's an end of the year review project, as Ben gets closer to that object, our voices are actually going to get quieter. So it's a flip of what we would normally expect. When I introduced this game, I did it with an eyes open version, so everyone sees where the marker is being hidden, or whatever the moon rock is. In this case, it was a marker, where the marker is being hidden, and then I am going to play the part of Ben first. So I'm going to model how to hide the object and how to look for the object so that I can kind of conduct students to be a little bit quieter or a little bit louder or a little bit quieter, 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 quieter. And then eventually I'm going to transition myself out of both of these roles. So I'm going to pick someone else to be Ben instead of me. And then like in the next round, I picked someone else to hide the marker instead of me. And this is a game that we're going to continue in the next couple lessons as we wrap up the year. So I did not spend a long time on this game, again, because it's something that we're going to repeat over and over in the next several classes. Okay, so that is the beginning of this project based on the book Come Back Ben. There's also a blog post that I will link below that talks about using this book for barred instrument exploration. And that's not a part of this particular project, but it is a really fun use of this book. So I'll link that below. Okay, if you have a question or a comment about this process, I would love to hear from you. You can drop a comment below. You can find me on Instagram. I am at Victoria Bowler, or you can shoot me an email, victoria@victoriabowler.com. Thank you so much for watching and happy teaching.